Hi everyone. Because my kids are sleeping, let me speak quietly. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so if you're interested in looking for some Buddhist communities, this video may be perhaps a good piece of information for you. So this is a continuation of my last video, Less Stressful Buddhist Lifestyle, why I joined Rissho Kosei-kai, where I talked about their practical approaches to coping with people's struggles in everyday life. So being in Buddhist community of Rissho Kosei-kai helps me mentally stay resilient during this time of pandemic. Um, I'm sorry, let's see. Right. I have a strong sense of belonging thanks to them. As I said in that video, Buddhism teaches that your satisfaction of desire is always a momentary satisfaction. And this truth about desire is universally shared by everyone. So I learned this in Rissho Kosei-kai, and I thought about it and I tested in my life. Then I started to find that their practice actually works for my life. The practice in Rissho Kosei-kai helped me feel less stress in a sustainable way and made my relationship with my family, friends, colleagues, neighbors, and everyone much more meaningful. So the question is, what did I do? Well, so that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So in a nutshell, they taught me how to practice Buddhist idea of Four Noble Truths so that I can understand the nature of my attachment and desire. So as you will see soon, desire is really complex phenomenon that, however, seems something simple. So it's tricky. It's sort of cunning, right? And it is always fun and eye-opening, however, to learn. So I have a question to you. Is there any personal desire or attachment that you want to get clear about? How does that seem to help if you have a clear grasp about your desire? Rissho Kosei trains me to cultivate that kind of reflective power of mind. I hope you will enjoy that practice as well if you have a chance or if you want to. Hence, a little more about Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths is one of the basic Buddhist teachings that explain the origin of your attachment to something and ways of overcoming that attachment. In Rissho Kosei, when applied to reality, this practice often involves the process of clarifying one's desire and attachment. Well, why do we need to be clear about our desire, right? So that's a great question. That's because unless we are right about the root cause of the problem the root cause of the problem we would not know an appropriate solution. So Buddhism is like let's say, like a vast medical world, and its teachings are like various medicines. Let's say you have terrible headache and go to the hospital, right? And if your doctor sees that the origin of your pain, headache, comes from the fact that you have your head, so your doctor recommends you to chop off your head as soon as you can. That's a laughable metaphor, right? This doctor is so confused and unskillful. That's not you, definitely. That's clear to everybody, right? This doctor, this guy doesn't know what he's really doing, right? You laugh at it. But Buddhism says this laughable story is actually something about you, something about your mind. So from the Buddha's enlightened eyes, in a way, all humans are like this unskillful doctor. It's really shocking to hear that. But we need to think about if that whether or not it's true. So we are often confused about our desire and hurt others and ourselves. And this perpetual loop of confusion, unclarified desire, and violence continues unless we get clear about the truth of our desire and attachment. So in a sense, in Buddhism, we are in a Buddhist deconfusion project of our desire, let's say. And the first step is to admit how much you are confused about your own desire. Being aware of your confusion is a proof that you are no longer merely confused. So, but admitting that is kind of hard for many people, like including myself. But once you get that admit, get that um, overcome, you will have more paths opening for the more solutions to your own desire and attachment and the stress and suffering in your life. Well, so let's take up a concrete story as an example before I end this video. So when you're driving and encounter with another driver who ignore the traffic light and get too close to your car, right? You immediately react and swear at that guy, right? So what is desire? Well, let me back up a little. Maybe not for everybody, but in my case at least, I tend to be like that. I used to tend to be like that. Right? Okay, move on. What is the desire that led to your unreflective behavior of swearing as I used to? On the surface, it seems like you had a desire to swear at that driver, but the question is why? So Buddhist Four Noble Truths encourages us to ask this kind of questions and clarify and understand more about our true desire. That's for the sake of better understanding self and other, and to build the meaningful relationship with others in your life and with yourself. So, well, the analysis part, that guy got too close to you, right? Then how did you feel in that moment? Well, you got scared to death. And having that feeling is so uncomfortable to sit with. So you find that feeling unbearable to have. So you wanted to do something with that discomfort. So you sweared at that guy, but not because your desire was to attack him, but rather it was because you desire to get rid of your intense discomfort caused by a feeling of being scared to death. Let me calm down. My kids are sleeping. So you favor to live over to die. In other words, under the guise of screaming at someone, you're trying to remove your personal discomfort. So you care about your life. Your life was in danger, so you desire to survive. So that's what happened. So this train of thoughts clarifies that your desire was not to yell at someone per se, but deep down, your desire was desire to eliminate your feeling of scariness. So what is at stake? Your care for own survival. So, so that bad driver just happened to touch on that innermost dimension of your fundamental desire for survival. So that's why you reached and reacted rather than mindfully responded. So, Four Noble Truth, as practiced and learned in Rissho Kosei-kai, helped me understand feelings of self and other in really deep level like this. Understanding this changed really how I drive in my life. So let me end with that story then. So now I realize everyone cares about their life, right? If this is a universal truth as it seems, that means I cannot get away from this universal care, omnipresence of the care for themselves, right? So then, given this universality, what is the choice left with me? So there's one choice. I need to accept that and try my best to share an importance of their care for their lives. So I decided to be a good driver who doesn't put other drivers in that spot of feeling extreme discomfort. So this awareness really changed my behavior, and I feel really pretty good about that. So I started to wake up early to avoid a last minute preparation than before, as I used to. Oh, that was terrible. And to leave home early to get to my destination, aiming to my busy schedule. So that was worthy of spending some time to prepare early. Because of these changes, when I drive, now I drive slowly than before. That's safe, you know, uh, less stressful. So what is the most satisfying here is that I'm mostly free of the following stressful thought, which is to say, oh my gosh, I'm running late. So in my case, being nervous by thinking about I'm running late really changes me into a crazy driver monster on the streets. So as a Buddhist, I really don't want to be a cause of suffering for others, but rather I want to be a cause of building a peaceful society. So Four Noble Truths, as I'm taught and trained in Rissho Kosei-kai, is very insightful and powerful enough to transform some of my everyday behaviors like this. And this change often leads to decrease of my stress level, and it feels really good and peaceful. My everyday was kind of brighten up, and so I can more focus on my work that I want to do with a peace of my mind instead of just being mentally dragged, because of these kind of the mental instability, let's say, or disturbance of my feelings, right? So it also worked for me to build more meaningful relationship with my wife, kids, my colleague, and even strangers, and of course with English friends. So there are so many stories like this in Rissho Kosei-kai, and you can find some of these stories in their monthly magazine, for instance, called The Living the Lotus. And you can click the link below to find their magazine. Choose your language and enjoy the stories. Thanks for watching. See you soon. I hope my kids are still sleeping.